Hey guys, today I want to talk about additional negotiations that happen during the life of your escrow. Typically items like a home warranty, I like to negotiate up front with the offer. So when we're doing the contract, I like to normally include a 1-year home warranty to be paid by the seller. Now, in previous videos, we talked about how we can make your offer stronger by negotiating that you pay your own home warranty instead of the seller's. But typically you can include that, or you can have it split 50-50, or you can waive it and add it on later if you so choose. We always recommend that you get one. It's really a great thing to have. The price of them range based on the size of the home and then what features that you add on. So my recommendation is always to add on the air conditioning unit, because living in the Central Valley, that is something that can go out and typically will go out on a home if something is going to go wrong. So you want to make sure you have a home warranty, because then you only have to pay the service fee, which is $75 in most cases, and then the company will come out and repair it or replace it as needed. So it's really a great thing to have. And the AC coverage is an add-on, so it doesn't come in the standard coverage, but that is something you definitely want to make sure that you're looking at. And then if you have pool equipment, you can add on the pool and spa, whatever you have, and that's an additional add-on also. So some other things that we like to negotiate. So typically you're going to do in the first 17 days of your contract is your inspection period, along with your appraisal period. So this is going to be the time that you as a buyer do your due diligence in finding out as much of the home as possible. So the 4 top inspections that we always recommend that you get are going to be a general home inspection. And we have another video that you can watch to see everything that encompasses. And then a pest inspection, and that's going to be it's going to be making sure that the home is free of termites, doesn't have any structural issues due to wood rot or pests, etc. And they also check for leaks, like water damage, like basically that the structure isn't compromised. Roof inspection's important also. You want to make sure that the roof is certifiable, meaning that there's not issues with it and there's no active leaks. And then another one we always recommend, especially in older neighborhoods that have mature trees, is going to be a sewer inspection, because they're going to go in and make sure that the sewer lines are not compromised with roots. And you can also add on to the home inspection and get a pool inspection if you have a pool. And they do a very basic one, so you can also get a more in-depth pool inspection, but they do a basic one where they check the pool equipment. They make sure that the sweep's working, that the flap that collects all the debris works, all of that. So that's going to be your time that you're going to do your inspections. And then once the inspections come back and we get the reports, we can review and go and ask the seller to repair health and safety issues. So for repairs, typically the biggest things are going to be items that you do not feel comfortable as a homeowner purchasing a home that has it. So, I mean, it's going to be items like the structural issues due to the pests, electrical issues, any plumbing leaks, things like that. And so during that 17-day period, that's when we go and we review the reports. We figure out what's important to you as a buyer to have done. And we can ask for anything. So, but we always recommend that typically you ask for health and safety items for sure. You want to make sure that the seller is doing the big stuff that you don't really want to pay for to do yourself, right? So, we negotiate that on a repair request form. We send that over to the other side with all applicable reports. So anything that we ask them to do, we need to have written like evidence that was inspected and showing that there's an issue. So we send all those reports over and to the listing side. They present that to the seller, and then the seller can accept and do all repairs. They can reject and say they're not going to do any repairs. They can offer you a credit, or you can ask for a credit instead also. So say that you are a general contractor and you know that you could do a lot of the repairs yourself, but it's going to cost some money. You can ask for a repair credit that they'll credit your closing cost amount in lieu of doing those repairs. So they can say that they'll offer you a credit instead of doing the repairs also. That's an option. Or they can agree to some of the repairs, but not all. And we see a lot with like homes that are like owned by companies or flipped, that they prefer to use their own people because they probably get a discount or whatever when they do the home renovation. So they'll say, okay, well, we may have asked them to do like repair certain people using a certain company, and they may come back and say, no, we're not gonna, or we'll make the repairs, but we're gonna use our own people. So that's gonna be something that you're gonna have to agree on. It's really gonna be up to you as a buyer. If you do accept their company or their people, a different company doing the repairs, I would recommend that you have the home inspector or somebody come back out to verify that the repairs have been completed properly. So sometimes that's a little bit of additional cost on the buyer end, but it's well worth it to know that a job was completed correctly. So that will typically happen during the 17-day period, and you can really negotiate the contract up to closing. You can change things at the very end. You can change terms, whatever. We like to get it done before the 17-day period because that's usually when the listing side, the seller, is going to ask the buyer to remove that contingency. And you don't want to remove it unless an agreement has been met. And as long as repairs have been agreed upon, it is okay to remove that contingency because as long as it's on a signed document, that becomes part of the contract. So you have it written. Now, prior to closing, we're going to do a walkthrough and we're going to verify that the repairs have been completed. Now, if they haven't, we can hold off closing. We'll go back to the seller or the listing agent and say, look, you agreed to these, or your seller agreed to these repairs, but they haven't been completed. This needs to be done prior to closing. We typically like to get the repairs done before closing. However, you can choose to close and have the repairs completed after closing as well. That just is a little more risk and liability because then the deed is already transferred into your name. It's all in your name now. So we like to see it done before because it's kind of collateral for the seller if you're holding up closing, like, hey, I'm not going to close until you do the repairs you agreed upon. So that's kind of how all that works. It's really the repair request process in most cases is pretty smooth, as long as you come to an agreement where all parties are reasonable, then it usually makes it pretty smooth and easy. So hopefully that helps explain that process of the contract. And yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments and I'd be happy to answer.